Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to our 5-day Motivated Mama Challenge. We're super excited to get you motivated and to keep you that way. We know that as fellow Mrs. Mommies, we have a lot on our plate as women, as wives, as mothers, as mompreneurs, and everything else that life throws at us. It's hard to juggle all these things. So for the past couple days, we've been talking to some mommies. Today we have Caitlin. Hey, Caitlin.
Hey.
She's a Gulf Coast mommy, so she does a lot of things. Okay, so I'm gonna just let her get into it. But she's a wife, she's a mom, she's an autism advocate, and we met on Instagram, and I'm so excited that we did. Caitlin, tell us about yourself.
Okay, let's see. I am almost 33.
Okay.
I have been married for 10 years. November will be 11 years.
Nice.
We have 2 kids. My oldest is Charlotte. She will be 8 on my birthday. That's a little fun fact. We have the same birthday.
Yeah.
And then my son just turned 3 back in January. He does have autism.
Okay.
He actually has autism in a very rare genetic condition, so he's got a double whammy going on.
Wow.
And let's see what else. We'll be in our new house for 1 year in May, and we've got 2 dogs and a cat. I think that's a good round.
Yes, that's a good 2 dogs and a cat. A year, you're still in a new house. That's so great. Now,
Yeah.
And being a wife, a mom, not only a mother, but you're a mother to a child who has autism and special needs and everything like that. How do you balance that? Because I would imagine that it's difficult on top of everything else you have to do. How do you manage that? Did you have to modify your schedule for extra appointments? Like, tell us about that.
Everything changed about 2 years ago.
Right.
And really, I found having him, even as an infant, like he was always a part of our family. Like really, when he came in, the transition was very smooth with having a second child.
Right.
But everything changed for me August of last year, of 17.
Okay.
Things weren't balancing. I had so many appointments for Sean. I had so many new worries and concerns, and really kind of had to work through that adjustment period, because some parents don't, I think, grieve it as much. I've heard some parents say that they weren't surprised and they were like, finally, now we can move on.
Okay.
I grieved. I did, and I think a lot of parents do.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually decided to leave my part-time job.
Okay.
In order to help balance everything. Because I felt like for me personally, I couldn't give 100% to my job like I had been, and I couldn't give 100% to my family like I wanted.
Right.
So for me, finding that balance was saying, okay, I'm stepping away from an office job. And for me, giving my family more of me. Because I wasn't happy, and I could tell they weren't happy. And if you're not happy as the rock of your family, it really ripples through. You can't be there for your husband. You can't be there for your kids. Sean was good. He didn't know any different. But I could see my daughter, she wanted more time with mommy because she was hearing us talk.
Right.
And I didn't have any time for me. Like, I couldn't figure out what I needed.
Wow.
By being laid so thin.
Wow.
So for me, leaving my job was a big catalyst that I needed in order to balance everything. But now I'm working on other things. I'm working on my social media accounts because I feel like this is something worth talking about.
Absolutely.
Because I felt very alone. Yeah, I felt very alone and very confused.
Right.
Yeah, we had all the clinical stuff, but I didn't know anybody.
Right.
With a child with this type of special need.
Right.
So I don't want other moms or dads or families to feel alone in this.
Okay.
Because it's very isolating. It's like, wait, now.
Right. I can imagine just getting that news, having your family pretty much shaken and turned around all in a matter of a day, and then feeling like the walls are closing in. Like, what do I do now? Who do I reach out to? Is there a support group? Am I the only one? And I think I'm so glad that going back, I'm so glad that you talked about your happiness and how important that was for you to step away from your job, because many women struggle with whether I should leave, should I stay? And I think it's actually germane to the person. Like, for some women to step away from their job, that may actually make them bitter. That may actually make them unhappy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that could cause a horrible ripple in their world. Whereas another woman is like yourself, is like, I have to give 100% to my family. Not saying that, working women and on the job part. Yeah, it's just depends.
Neither one is wrong.
Right. Neither one is wrong. Neither one is wrong. But it just depends on you knowing what's right for your family. And I feel like that's what you had to do, and it's working for you. So
it is.
Like, what are some things you do to stay motivated? Because come on, we're moms. Some days I feel like just staying in the bed and not talking to anybody.
Some days you need those days. I'm not
right.
gonna lie.
Yes.
I had that day last week. I was like, I'm done.
Right.
I can't do it.
Tapped out.
For me, I think it's just finding what you like to do. I feel like I've kind of prescribed to the train of thought of get your body moving. Like, when I feel like I don't know what to do and I'm overwhelmed by the things that are keeping me from being unmotivated, I need to go outside and walk. I need to do some yoga, whether that's going to the class that I just came from or doing it in my house.
Right.
Or just sitting outside and getting that fresh air, taking that moment to go, okay, hang on. Let me just hang on a second.
Yes.
And breathe for a minute. You have to breathe for a minute, or you'll drive yourself nuts and get anything done.
And you would think that's something that's so easy. Just breathe. But it's really not, because I found myself we carry so much tension because we have all this mental turmoil going on. We're balancing all these things. And it's just like, I find myself at the computer sometimes like oh, just breathe. I'm holding my breath. Like, just calm down. Just relax. And that's really true.
Without getting too into the yoga mindset, because it's something that I and that's where I think I started it in February, but I think that's where I got that from. Like, everything fell into place when I said, you know what, I've got to breathe. If everybody would just take a moment to breathe.
Yes.
And clear your brain just for a second, doesn't have to be all day.
Right.
If you can clear the clutter for a minute.
Right.
Then you can see things more clearly.
That is so true.
And I think that helps get me motivated. Yeah. So when I feel like when I'm overdone or unmotivated, if I can just take that moment to breathe.
Wow.
Then everything just kind of, okay, now I can get back to doing what I need to do.
And that's such simple advice, but it's so much wisdom in that, because we're doing something that naturally comes to us, but we don't naturally follow that pattern of doing it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
I have to say it out loud too. Like, don't get me wrong. I have to go, okay. My husband now looks at me and goes, breathe. Okay. All right.
Husbands are so great most of the time.
I agree.
So with because I know you have a blog, right? golfcoastmommy.com. And your blog is it for parents and families who've experienced, who have kids with autism, or is it like special needs? Is it just how to deal? Like, what is it you focus on?
I'm still working through that, actually. Okay. I did that on a wild hair, believe it or not. I was like, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to do this. And I
do it, girl.
When I did it. I didn't want it to be just solely about autism, because I feel like there's so much as moms that we could benefit from, but it's really become for Sean and autism. And I think his genetic diagnosis, I've noticed a lot of hits on his particular genetic diagnosis and what it is, because there's a lot of uncertainty about what it is, because it's very, very rare. It's in a part of your genes that scientists and doctors haven't really been able to see before, and they're now starting to find it because it's very small.
Wow.
And for those of you watching, I'm going to give you the whole name because it doesn't have a short name yet.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's called 7q11.23 microduplication syndrome.
Yep.
So there, at the time when Sean was diagnosed, last April,
Okay.
there were only about 1,000 known cases worldwide.
Wow.
So I've actually had a lot of hits with that. So I think it's really starting to transition into being around those two things.
Okay.
It's really become that. I've for anybody that goes and looks it up, I have been MIA because my life has been busy.
Right.
But you have stuff coming down the way. But there is a lot to do with those two specific diagnoses.
Wow, that is so, like, clearly, if I don't see that in writing, I would have never, ever heard of it or anything like that. Now, with something so rare, having autism and a genetic disorder, will he be able to, or do they think that he'll be able to kind of age out of autism, or just be to the point where he's more independence, assisted living kind of thing? Because I've seen cases.
Well, the thing with autism is such a broad spectrum. There are those that are very mild and very what's the word I'm looking for? Normal.
Right.
You don't know any different except for maybe a few quirks.
Okay.
And then there are some that are very severe and very developmentally delayed.
Okay.
Sean right now at 3 years old is falling in the moderate category.
Okay.
So he's in between mild and severe.
Okay.
Looking at him, you wouldn't know.
Right.
But my poor baby, having the double whammy that he has, his geneticist at UAB, which is the University of Birmingham, who I love, she has been so kind to us. She told me in December that she has a lot of faith in Sean because he is very curious. You can see those wheels turning. He does seem to understand. But given what they know about the kids with the genetic diagnosis and his autism, she told us to prepare for him to live with us his entire life.
Okay.
Not that he wouldn't have some sense of independence, especially if we really work at it and really support him.
Right.
But to be prepared for him to really probably always be with us.
Okay.
So that's what we're looking at for him. Now, every case is different.
Right.
Especially when it comes to autism. Every case is different. And that's what's kind of hard too to explain is the greatest words I ever heard that I didn't believe to be true, which are true, is just because you meet one person with autism does not mean you've met everybody with autism.
Right.
They all are truly unique and different.
Right.
There are some so independent you couldn't tell them that the sky was blue. you
know? Right.
And there are some that are just will never be on their own and will always have to be cared for.
Okay.
I'm somewhere in
that's good. That's really good information. And I'm so glad that you're, again, transparent in your experience, what your son is going through, because I know that a lot of moms need to hear this, especially if their kid is maybe on the verge or they're just don't know what to do. You know what I mean? And I know that people will be able to seek you and get some advice from you, because we need each other. Clearly we need each other.
Well, I want to say this too with the ones that are right there on the verge.
Yeah.
Do not be scared by the label.
Right.
Nobody wants their child labeled.
Right.
But you have to have that label to get the things that they deserve to help them learn. Right. Don't be scared of the label. Get that label and hold on to it, because that's the only way they're going to get what they need for school.
Need the resources.
I mean, for the honest, big global picture, school, think of school for your children. Why
Right.
make it more difficult
Right.
than it needs to be? At school is already difficult enough as a kid in a
Yeah.
decade. Why make it more difficult?
Right.
It's no different than any other learning disability. You get your kids with ADD or ADHD or dyslexia, the resources they need.
Right.
Get your label.
Get your label.
Get your label and run with it, because it's so important.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Especially early on when we got early intervention for Sean. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent.
No, it's fine.
But with early intervention, I was scared of that, but my mom made me call that day to get going with it. The day I found out, before I had time to process it all.
Right.
But like, she told me, who wouldn't want one-on-one education for their child, whether they have a true autism diagnosis or not?
Right.
This only benefits him.
That's true.
In the long run.
That's
and
true.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Then that's just wisdom, you know, because that I look at that as making the shift from selfish, you know, it being all about me or how I feel about my child being labeled, to releasing yourself from that and making it about your child. So that's very commendable. And I really encourage other moms who, like you said, let your child be labeled. Get the label so they can get the resources. And that's super duper important. Really quick, because you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want to know, for this season in your life, what is your theme?
I think I put on there, on your form, was learning, but I kind of have multiple things going on.
Right.
After really going through the grieving process of what I thought normal was going to be, I've really come into where I'm learning more. I'm even more open to learning the things that I need to share and want to share with everybody out there.
Yeah.
Out in the world. And I'm really trying to create a space of calm for me.
Right.
Everything in our home, like, we've painted, and my husband did this amazing shiplap wall up by our fireplace.
Nice.
And we painted the walls this really calm gray color. Like, I needed to create a place of calm where everything else that's chaotic going on outside, we can come here and just breathe.
That's really good.
Trying to breathe.
Yeah, that's really good. Really good. Creating a place of calm for yourself. Yeah, I think we can. I'm gonna just jot that down.
Yeah.
For me.
Jot that one down. Who knew I had that in me?
Right. That is so nice. I love these gems that you're dropping. Now, when people can contact and connect you, are you mostly on Instagram?
It cut out there for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Time it cut out on me.
Are you mostly on Instagram?
No, that's okay.
Contact and connect with you there?
Yes, I do actually a lot on Instagram. I like it. I like sharing pictures and things like that. And I'm also on Facebook. Okay.
So are both Gulf Coast Mommy? They can find you at, okay. So cool. People can find you on Facebook and Instagram at Gulf Coast Mommy, and your blog, which is up, and then more stuff to come, but GulfCoastMommy.com. Give Caitlin a minute. Don't rush her, people. But
or if you have any questions to help me write, I mean, I'm kind of going off what I know, but if I have questions that can be answered universally, I'd love to touch on those too.
Oh, cool. I think Mrs. Mommy United can help with that. But before we go, I would like for you to say, I am Mrs. Mommy United. We support, enrich, and empower.
I am Mrs. Mommy United. I support, enrich, and empower.
Yay! Thank you so much, Caitlin. I appreciate your time, because I know you just came back from yoga and you're we got to get you're going back to your place of calm and quiet. But everybody, don't forget to contact and connect with Caitlin on Instagram and Facebook at Gulf Coast Mommy, and also follow her blog, GulfCoastMommy.com. Not to mention, she's been a blog contributor on MrsMommyUnited.com. She is our premier advocate, and we look forward to seeing and talking to you soon. Thank you so much, Caitlin. I look forward to hearing from you. All right, everybody. Until next time, stay a motivated mama. This is Mrs. Mama United, over and out. Peace.
Peace.